What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, a lot of stuff. I kind of forgot that Wednesday was National Signing Day for college football, so I actually got a lot of stuff to confirm with USC. I'm going to start off with that and get into some other stuff that happened. So, I actually wrote everything down so I could just do it all at once, so hopefully it'll be a lot quicker than normal. So, yes, USC signed up about 20 guys. At first, Clay Helton had only put up like 19 guys on his Twitter, so I was kind of hoping that the 20th guy was Corey Foreman out here from Corona Centennial, and they're just keeping it secret because that's what he said he wants. He was gonna most likely sign yesterday, but hope that the team kept it quiet so he can announce it whenever he does, whether it's January 2nd at the All-American stuff or even February 5th or sometime around then when it's the official National Signing Day. This was just the early portion of it, but we did find out that it was, as we could start off right now, the defensive tackle ISHMAEL from Alabama that I mentioned previously. So that was the only person he was missing at the time, which kind of sucks, but I think they have a lot of momentum to get a couple guys like Corey Foreman and Zaire Wright, who's a top corner out there and is also playing LeBron James' son in Space Jam 2, but there's a lot of couple guys out there, even like a Rayshawn Davis, who is semi-committed to LSU because he didn't officially sign the other day, but I think USC has a chance to get one of the top linebackers not only in the country but out here in California as well, so hoping for that. And then another defensive lineman, Jay Toya, he was picked up as well. Looks like a pretty large human being, especially for that position, so that's good to see. And then they were able to get their second quarterback, JAXSON. They already had another guy, and then Jake Garcia fell out. I hear he's now going to Miami, so whatever. But yes, they were able to get this guy who rocketed up all the charts once his senior year started and did a lot of great stuff, so definitely very happy he's on the team, so he will be able to compete with the other quarterback in this class coming up. And then they also got a safety in Kalen Bullock, who is really highly talented, so that's good. They're shoring up that side. They also picked up another cornerback or free safety in Anthony Beavers Jr., who was once committed to Oregon, but yes, luckily he did officially sign with USC now. Then the other quarterback I mentioned, Miller Moss, who is from Bishop Alemany. It's a school that my older sister went to when she was in high school, but he was actually transferring to Modern Day to be able to play with a little bit more prestigious, more known program, but sadly you can't play California sports out here, and I don't even think they're going to be able to play their football season. But I think he's one of those guys who can come in early, so he will be there for spring practice and everything. A lot of these guys are going to be, so that's going to be good for them to develop before the season starts next year. And then they still did keep the commitment from Zamarian Gordon, another defensive back as well. So a lot of good guys on the defensive back side that they kept. Another guy, defensive back, Jalen Smith, because they really didn't get a lot of guys, especially last year. They kind of went all in on offensive linemen and only had about 12 scholarships, so they needed to shore up another position, so they definitely went defensive backs this year. Another one, Prophet Brown, another local kid, but a cornerback as well, but he's very talented. And then Mason Murphy, he's considered one of the top offensive linemen out here in California, and luckily USC was able to get him, so he's not maybe considered very highly ranked like on like number of stars or top 100 or whatever, but he is a very talented player, and you got to keep the more talented guys that are in your backyard at home, so I'm glad he is on USC. Then a lot of people are talking about Julian Simon. He did play both receiver and linebacker up there in Washington where he's from, but he was actually once committed to the University of Washington, but luckily we stole him from there as well. And they definitely feel like he could be the captain of the defense, and they definitely want him to play linebacker, and he's the one only linebacker. They did have another guy, but his brother, Pali Naotiote, who was with USC, had entered the transfer portal, and then now we found out that his younger brother signed with Michigan State, so they're both most likely not going to come back to USC, so at least we got one guy, and maybe we could get that Rayshawn Davis, as I mentioned earlier, the LSU soft commit. Another guy is Michael Jackson III. out of Nevada. He's one of these really good talented receivers out there, and I'm definitely glad they're able to keep him because he may be a 3-star, but he has a lot of talent, I think. Then Maximus Gibbs, one of the bigger offensive linemen they picked up this year, like definitely 6'6", over 300 pounds. I mean, he's just a beast, and he plays for St. John Bosco, one of the powerhouses out here in SoCal. So good to have him, but he might have to trim up, trade in that, baby fat for muscle, and he could be a problem for a lot of teams in the Pac-12. And then Kyron Ware-Hudson, the wide receiver from Mater Dei, who had recently said he was going to flip to USC, so it's good that they're able to officially get him. And then Brandon Campbell, one of the only running backs they got. He is a 4-star, but I'm pretty sure since USC hasn't really gotten a running back lately, he feels like he's going to be one of the more focal points in the near future, so good luck to him. And then one guy that was surprising just because I didn't really hear much about him was Joseph Manjek, a wide receiver out of Texas. Yeah, I didn't really hear about anything about him up to this point, but they're able to get a guy from out there, so that's always good when you can steal a guy from Texas. Then another guy a couple guys actually coming up next from Texas they stole was Ty Buchanan. He was one of the top offensive tackles out there, and he has a really nice gritty play, and he can play with this type of offense as well. So I think he's going to be one of the bright future stars for USC. And then the tight end Lake McCree, who's been a long-time commitment to USC, officially signed as well. And then we also got Colin Mobley, who was one of the later add-ons, but definitely helped probably by Coach Vic Soto because he was out there in Virginia and probably asked him to come to USC instead of over there now. And yeah, I think he was one of the farthest guys, like from Maryland or somewhere out there, but he's a talented guy, 4-star on the defensive line, so he's gonna help contribute in the near future, I think. And then lastly, the tight end Michael Trigg out of Florida. He was one of the other talented tight ends out there, 4-star. He's most likely gonna play basketball as well, kind of like how Drake London does for USC football and basketball. But yeah, this guy they say he's the real deal, so he's gonna be one of the talented tight ends coming out of USC and hopefully drafted in a few years. So to go off of this other stuff that happened, Jalen Johnson of Duke, he hurt, I forget if it was his knee or some type of leg injury, but now he's going to be out indefinitely, and they're not going to check on his status of how the injury's doing till after the holidays. So it is definitely like a 2 to 3 week timeline he's going to be out for, but it does suck because he might end up just not coming back and risking injury because he's going to be a top 10 pick, it looks like. But we'll see how the season goes, if there is even still a season going on in January, February. But yes, Duke did get to play Notre Dame on the road over there, and they won by 10 points. Yeah, it was 75 to 65. A lot of guys did really well, but my guy DJ Stewart stepped up. You could see like that little crossover he had, and like a nice steal and finish on the other end. So yeah, he's been stepping up. Another guy too, Matthew Hurt. It's been a lot better than I expected as well for them, which he should be. But Wendell Moore is a guy who's been there for 2 years now, and he's kind of disappearing, which is pretty crazy. But yes, last night the Lakers also played and they beat the Suns, and both LeBron James and Anthony Davis were there for the Lakers to start, and they played sparingly. I don't even think they reached over 20 minutes, but they both got into double-digit scoring points, and at one point at the end of the third quarter, the Suns were almost up by 20, if not that, and then the Lakers bench pretty much came back and won the game for them, which is cool to see. Kuzma and Horton Tucker both did well. I'm just saying, everyone's like, oh yeah, we have a great bench now, but like I said, they need to boost their numbers up so they can get traded, in my opinion. But yeah, I guess it's all right to see for now. And then before the game, the Lakers did waive a couple players off their team. A couple of these guys I didn't even know about, but Kevin Harris, I believe it was, they waived. Xavier Simpson was the only one I knew from Michigan, so I'm kind of happy he's gone. And then Tres Tinkle. I think the only reason to keep him around because his last name is Tinkle, but too bad. And then we got news that Washington for the Pac-12 football game has COVID issues, so they won't be playing. So of course now the Pac-12 has put Oregon to play USC, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a tougher matchup, even though they're missing a lot of guys and they struggle this year. But it will be a good matchup off the field too, as far as recruiting wise, because if USC can get the victory against them, show what they can do, maybe some more recruits will want to come to USC. You gotta win the big games, and if it's for the Pac-12 championship, it should be beneficial for them. And then found out on Tuesday that USC only moved up 2 spots to number 13. So like I said, if they weren't going to be in the top 10, it's going to be hard for them to get into the Final Four. I don't know why they're even talking about it. Not a lot of USC people are talking about it, but ESPN seems to want to put USC everywhere. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be Final Four. And then USC basketball postponed 3 more games because of COVID issues, which sucks. But that's just the stuff we got to deal with to be safe right now. And then ex-USC power forward Benny Boatwright officially signed. I think he was already with Memphis, but he re-signed with them, or signed a deal to be with Memphis Grizzlies. So that's good for him. Good luck to him. So with all those Duke guys out there. And then a little game that happened earlier in the week. Both Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram combined for like 48 points together, the 2 ex-Duke Blue Devils. So it's pretty good to see that they're being highly involved, especially because Ingram got that big contract and Zion is a lot healthier right now. So hopefully they can continue it, and we'll see what they can do in the Western Conference. And then, yes, I didn't get the names, but 4 Anaheim Ducks made like the USA Junior National Team or something like that. So I don't know if that means that they have good enough talent right now to compete, or maybe it's just good talent for the future. But at least you got talent somewhere. They just gotta be able to put it on the ice and get some goals going. But to finish things off, I believe it was the Sports Business Journal, whatever the heck that is. They named the city of LA the best sports town, or best sports whatever, something like that, of 2020. So I guess that's cool. I mean, we deserve it because they did win both pretty high championships, the NBA and the what's it called, the MLB. But they didn't win the NHL, but it's cool. USC is undefeated right now, which is a cool thing to have. So, and I think I don't know if it was this year or last year, we found out that the Olympics is gonna be in LA like in 2028 or something like that. So yeah, a lot of good things happening for the city of LA, except all this stuff happening, stay-at-home order. But sure, we'll get through it. It's almost time for Christmas, so everyone be safe. If you are gonna travel, probably don't do it on a plane, but do it safely, even if you do. But yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.